I thought our guys started the game with, very, very good energy. Outside, like maybe the last 45, 50 seconds of that second quarter to close out the half, I thought we played, very well defensively. And we played consistently for longer stretches, which was great to see. Offensively, certainly what Russell, what he does each and every day, how he, obviously generates shots for himself, for others, gets out in transition, rebounds. I mean, he obviously does so many things that impact our team and winning. But it was, I think, coming at us last week or so, I think his leadership has really stood out just in terms of keeping the guys connected together, keeping them working. But then we got a lot of contributions from a lot of different guys. I thought Anthony Morrow really stepped up and helped us. I thought Jeremy Grant played well. Domas got in some foul trouble. I thought Ennis's second half was really impactful and helpful. So we got really contributions from a lot of different guys, and it was, I thought, overall a good defensive game. And the reason it was a good defensive game was because of the three-point line. And I don't necessarily think that it was all because of our defense, but we were more mindful about getting out there, and I thought that was just a difference in the game. What they shot from the line, and the fact that we got to the free throw line a little bit more than they did, and obviously didn't shoot it great from the line. But the three-point line, I thought, was a difference tonight.
Coach, you guys are coming off the road, long road trip, played guys big minutes in overtime last night. What did you think about the way that they responded, especially to start the game?
I thought we came out with a lot of energy. Like I said, it was a back-to-back for both teams, and those are hard. I don't think anybody really understands what these guys put themselves through physically, just night after night. And for us, having a back-to-back day off, back-to-back, I mean, that's hard. And you would think that a game like tonight, we'd have some energy slippage and some of those things. But I thought we came out with a lot of energy and played well, really, for the entire game, which was great.
Billy, Russell in the previous two games combined had, I think, 36 free throw attempts. And tonight in the third quarter, it looked like he got a little frustrated at times. I think he only had 2 over the entire game. And there were a couple other plays where there was some contact. What did you think about the disparity in the free throws from the previous couple of games to tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this, that Detroit is not a team that fouls a lot and puts teams to the free throw line. So I think you have to take that in consideration on a night like tonight. But clearly there was drives to the basket, in my opinion, that could have easily been, whistled for him to go to the free throw line. There looked like a lot of contact. To your point, Russell's always been a guy throughout his career that's generated an enormous amount of free throws. But I think coupled with the fact that Detroit they don't send teams to the free throw line as much, you would expect in a game like tonight his free throws to be down, but I don't think is down as much as they were.
Coach, posting Morrow up as much as you did tonight, was that something that was in the game plan, or was that something that just kind of happened in the flow of the game?
No, I think I give Russell credit on that. I mean, just the recognition. He was trying to run some wide pin downs for him, and they were top locking him, and Russell had great awareness and threw the ball over the top and got him on some post ups. He did a really, really good job. I've always said this about Russell. He does a great job managing the game, figuring out what's going on. I use the word manipulate. I don't mean that in a negative way, but he kind of manipulates what's going on. He sees what's going on, tries to exploit different things. And he did that. I think when Anthony was out there, he was able to see that Ish Smith was on him, and he tried to run some wide pin downs, and Ish Smith, top locked him, got on the top side, and he was able to find him over the top. But I think Russell's got really, really good awareness when it comes to those kind of things.
Billy, you guys were going, especially late, but really throughout the game, you guys were going to pick and roll a lot tonight, and it seemed to be working pretty well. What made that so successful for you guys?
I think it was the movement on the baseline and what they were doing. They were really, really pulling off of the weak side, and we were starting Domas and Joffrey and even Jeremy in different areas of the floor, and then we were kind of flooding one side, and it kind of took away maybe the help that was there to when the play initiated. And then Russell, I think, had some options. One time he found Jeremy and a slip to the basket on a backdoor dunk. Another time he found Victor in the corner for a three. He found Amo. He got obviously Ennis rolling several times. He got the ball to Steven. I thought he really sprayed it around a lot. And then they kind of switched their coverage and tried to push him away from where he was going there. And but outside of that, that's what I'm talking about, like where he just can kind of manipulate the floor. But we wanted to keep him in the middle of the floor, and we just tried to move around behind the basket where their help was where it started and maybe where we kind of vacated it, and then allow Russell to do what he does.
Are you guys best when you kind of get that big man drifting out of the paint and towards Russell so you can get that pocket pass or lob or whatever it is to the big?
Well, again, and it also depends on, I think when you stand just stationary and come down and do that, it's a little bit easier to guard. So I thought we had some good movement behind the basket, guys moving to different areas, lifting the help, removing the help from certain areas. So that was encouraging. And then Russell also picked his points, I thought, where he actually drove the ball and had some finish at the rim as well.
Billy, Russ picked up his 44th career triple-double tonight, moving past Fat Lever, nice tie with LeBron James. I know you're not focused on the numbers and all that stuff, but I mean the history here is getting kind of ridiculous with what Russell's doing, putting himself in these categories, right?
Well, he's extremely rare just because I've never seen a player be able to impact the game in the amount of ways that he can impact it. I mean that even from a standpoint of not even analytics statistically. I mean, he's impacting our team in terms of his leadership. He impacts our team in terms of raising everybody's energy. He raises our team when we're down, that resiliency to kind of fight back. He just has that. But, what he does in games, I think it's just an incredible, when you see those stats, he's impacting the game in like every possible fashion. I mean, the one offensive rebound he had in the beginning of the game, was unbelievable. And he had the layup and he kind of missed it there. But it was like the floor was like a trampoline, when he went up in the air. But he can do so many different things. And I think that's why he plays so fearlessly, in my opinion, because he knows that there's ways that, he's not just a one-way limited player that only can do a couple things. Like he can do so many different things and impact the game in so many different ways. Coupled with the fact that he's been in the league for a long time, he's experienced, he's very bright. But to put up those numbers, to your point, the categories that, and the people that are in that category, he's a Hall of Fame player. That's really what he is. He's a Hall of Fame player, and it's really remarkable what he's doing. I'm really, it's one of those things as a coach, you feel very, very blessed and fortunate to be able to work with someone like that every single day just because he takes it so serious and he cares so much about the team and winning. It is remarkable what he's been able to do.
Billy, when you talk about the last week or so and seeing his leadership and that really standing out, what do you see when you're talking about those things?
Well, I think it's the one thing I would say with Russell is that, he's not perfect. He makes mistakes. And I think as a leader, you got to be willing to say, that was my fault. I made a mistake. But I also think he tries to raise everybody's level of play. He tries to inject confidence. He tries to, when things aren't going well, get guys going. And I think for him, it's been, probably a journey for him in his career, leadership-wise, and figuring out what works and what doesn't work for him and different players. But it's I think, holding our team to a high standard, a high level of expectation about how we want to go out there and play. And like I said, Russell, the rest of our team, myself, none of us are perfect. But you cannot argue and dispute the fact of how much he cares about winning, the organization, the team, the community, everything all the way around. He takes it very, very serious. So, you see that on display all the time. And, like I said, it's his leadership, like stuff you don't get a chance to see that I see him doing when he invests time with Domas, or his relationship with Steven or Anthony Morrow, or, trying to talk to different guys or talking to Ennis. He really, I think, is very mindful of those things.
Last question right here. Can you just comment on Morrow's performance in the last few games? His role and his performance have stepped up progressively.
You know what? Like Anthony, if you look at his shooting percentage this year, it hasn't been very good, and hasn't been very good from three, and I probably blame myself more for that because of his minutes being so erratic, and I think a lot of times getting in late in games or in second half or third quarters, it's hard to come off the bench, and even as great of a shooter as he is, to do that. But, we wanted to give him a chance and a look, the last couple games, and try to see if we could not get him into a rhythm. I've been really impressed and pleased with how hard he's competed on the defensive end of the floor. He had a hard cover tonight, Caldwell Pope, and I thought he did a really, really good job. He had to guard some different people like Harris and Morris, and he hung in there and did a good job. So, from my perspective, with him is I give him a lot of credit because as a veteran and a guy that's been in this league, just a consummate professional to come every single day, like ready and understanding the length and time of 82 games and, always keeping himself ready. And it's the same thing with Nick Collison. Like, I never worry about, like, okay, these guys haven't played a lot, are they going to be ready? They do a great job of taking care of themselves. Thank you.